Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this very special opening. My name is Kanika Anand, and I'm the senior curator here at Contemporary Calgary. This exhibition, Efflorescence, The Way We Wake, is a collaboration between artists Marigold Santos and Rajni Perera, curated by Cheryl Sim, organized and toured by Foundation PHI Montreal. The collaboration first took root at the Armory Art Fair in New York 2023, and from there blossomed a kindling of like spirits of two women, artists of color, who drew on the richness of their cultural heritage, but also actively build community through their work. Their practices emerge from lived experiences and are of living cultures. They draw on the rites and rituals of transformation, mythology, and folklore, as well as futuristic imaginings that speak of the fragmentation and rebuilding of the self, and by extension of diasporic communities. Their work also speaks of resilience and strength, of acts of labor and love. Welcome, Cheryl, Marigold, and Rajni. I'd like to also formally introduce Cheryl Sim, the curator of the exhibition, who will then introduce the artist and moderate today's artist talk. Cheryl Sim is the managing director and curator at Foundation PHI for Contemporary Art in Montreal. She began her career in 1992 at Studio D, the feminist studio of the National Film Board of Canada, which led her to discover video art and artist-run culture. Prior to joining the Foundation PHI in 2007, she was the director of activities and communications at Oboro, one of Canada's foremost artist-run centers, overseeing exhibitions, public events, residencies, and publications. At the PHI Foundation, she has organized over 20 major exhibitions, most notably Stan Douglas, Revealing Narratives, Yoko Ono, Growing Freedom, which was toured here. Thank you, Cheryl. And the group show Revelations, Diaspora and Painting, which met with critical praise and touring engagements, was also featured at the Esker Foundation in Calgary. She has guest lectured at universities across Canada and has animated numerous panels and artist conversation in arts institutions, festivals, and fairs. She has served on several peer review juries for the Canada Council for the Arts, as well as the jury for the Sobi Arts 2022, and the Claudine and Stephen Fellowship in Contemporary Art 2018. She is currently president of the board of CAMDO, Canadian Art Museum Directors Association, organization, where she is also member of the Diversity, Inclusion, and Anti-Racism Committee. Welcome, Cheryl. I'm sure this will be a very spirited and engaged conversation. Welcome.
This is a little rock and roll, isn't it? Just like, come on in. I just want to explain a little something about traveling shows, and that's that even if I had the pleasure and the honor of organizing this exhibition for Fondation PHI de l'Art Contemporain in Montreal, that Kanika did an incredible job curating this show here. She knows the space. She worked with these artists to instantiate it here. There are some works that couldn't travel from Montreal to this show because of constraints in extending loans, and the artists stepped up to fill those gaps with respect to the spaces. And that's also in due part to a dialogue with the curator here. So I want to recognize Kanika for her incredible work. Thank you so much. So who are you? Who are you people?
I don't know.
Here we are again. I mean, it's kind of amazing, right? What happened was we had this opportunity to show an exhibition with an artist named Sonia Boyce, who incredible Afro-British artist who won the Golden Lion at the Venice Biennial at the 2022 2. Yeah. And, our original idea was we had these 2 buildings, was to have her occupy both buildings. And in her wisdom, she said, I can't delve back into my back catalog. I really just want to concentrate on the one exhibition that I presented at the Venice Biennale. It's like, cool. So what are we going to do with this really interesting 4-floor building? And time passed, and I ended up going to see the Armory Show in New York in 2023, September. And I knew that these 2 women were showing, were sharing a booth. And it was, Patel Brown booth. And, also I had a little bit of the backstory that it was Rajni who had been invited to have a solo booth, and Rajni said, I would really like to do that booth with Marigold Santos. And then if you, further back from that was that in 2020, I curated a show called Relations, Diaspora and Painting, which is the show that went to the Esker. Thank you, Naomi Potter, for bringing that, because otherwise, I don't know. Pandemic show, right? I think we wanted it to be open for 4 months. It was open for, 6 weeks, something like that. So it really meant a lot to us that Esker brought that show. But the thing is that Rajni had not seen any Marigold Santos work until she came to Montreal to see that show. And when she went in front of Marigold's paintings, she was like, who is that master? And that's what brought you to invite Marigold, because you're both represented by Patel Brown.
Well, I mean, I followed her on Instagram after.
Thank you, Instagram. Let me just tell you a little bit about these 2 artists. Marigold Santos was born in the Philippines and immigrated with her family to Canada in 1988. She pursues an interdisciplinary art practice that examines notions of heritage, folklore, motherwork, and decolonization presented within the otherworldly. Her paintings, drawings, sculptures, and tattoo work explore selfhood and identity that embraces multiplicity, fragmentation, and empowerment as informed by diasporic experiences. She received her MFA here in Montreal, sorry, it's old notes. She received her MFA in Montreal at Concordia University, and as a recipient of grants from the Canada Council for the Arts, the Alberta Foundation for the Arts, and the Conseil des Arts et des Lettres du Québec, she continues to exhibit widely across Canada. Her works are in a number of museum and private collections, and in 2020 she was shortlisted for the Musée National des Beaux-Arts du Québec's Contemporary Art Award and longlisted for the Sobey Art Prize in 2023, and there's so much that's happened since then that we should talk about. Rajni Perera was born in Sri Lanka in 1985 and lives and works in Toronto. Perera seeks to open and reveal the dynamism of the icons, beings, and objects she creates by means of a subversive aesthetic that counteracts antiquated, oppressive discourse and acts as a restorative force. Her art has been exhibited nationally and internationally at the McMichael Gallery, the Museum of Contemporary Art in Toronto, the National Gallery of Canada in Ottawa, the Gwangju Biennial in South Korea, Columbuscope in Sri Lanka, the Eastside Projects UK, among others. She is in numerous collections, including the National Gallery of Canada, the Montreal Museum of Fine Art, the McMichael Canadian Art Collection, the Sobey Art Foundation. She was awarded the Sauer Art Prize at the Armory Show in 2023, was the recipient of the MoCA Toronto Award in 2022, and was the Ontario Regional finalist for the Sobey Art Award in 2021. Let's just give another big hand to 2 fierce women of color artists doing it here in Canada. So I thought maybe to start, Rajni, can you take, I said you thought she was a master when you saw her, but can you take me back, or all of us, back to that moment when you first saw Marigold's work?
Yeah, totally. I was really blown away, so I didn't know. So first of all, I met you here for the first time at the Esker Foundation. And Marigold came up at NEP's show. She's like, hi! It's like such a little, like a ray of sunshine. I was like, who is this? She's so nice. And I'm from Toronto, and people aren't nice there. And I was like, you're so nice. Wow, what a cool girl. And then I go away, and then, yeah, we show up to Relations in Montreal, and I'm not really making the connection. I mean, I had a lot of party days, so like, sometimes I'm a little, takes a while. So like, see it at Relations, see the work, like this stunning painting. It's like so heavily worked, and it's like really elaborate. And the reason that I gravitate towards this painted work so much is that the making hand is really present in it, and there's like a lot of masterful sort of craftsmanship, and that's something that I found to be like all the way through art school, and like at the time that I'm starting to like navigate the art world, like early career, finding that kind of like art and craft are a bit at odds still at this time. And it's super racist, and it's like very elitist, and it's classist as well, because like to understand simple and conceptual work, you actually need to be in school for a really long time, and you need a ton of money, and you need to come from a privileged class of people. So like, my push all through school and like in my early career was for work, heavily worked work, like artisan, you know what I mean? Like this, the making hand, a trained hand, and like very made work. Not really seeing that in galleries. I had a lot of angst. So like, if you can imagine the relief I feel, and then finding out it's a woman of color, just like not only a wow, but also like like, okay, like this is happening. Like this is out there. Like this is starting to move. And then, like I said, followed her on Instagram. And then, start to see your career, like, before then too, right? Like everything that you'd been working on, painted work, sculpture, really weird stuff too, like back then. Weird shit, real weird shit, which I loved. So that's like, that's inside my mind at that moment.
Yes, some deep kinship there, some recognition. And Marigold, can you take us back to the moment when Rajni invited you to collaborate?
Yeah, for sure. So I will just piggyback off of Rajni a little bit, because I had known of Rajni's work a little bit before she had known of mine. And I remember I was teaching, I think this was a drawing class at MacEwan University in Edmonton. Anybody here from Edmonton? Okay, so I was teaching this class, and what was really nice about these kinds of classes is that I was allowed to just make up my own curriculum. And whenever I was teaching, I always had this mandate for myself that I was only going to show the students artists of color. So that was the thing that I did, and specifically a lot of like women or femme artists. And so when I was like making that curriculum, I came across Rajni's work, and I was like, yo, this is really awesome. Like, who is she? And so I was like, without even really knowing much about her, I was showing my students about her. And so I was really fascinated by her work. And for the very same reasons too, like you can kind of see that she's very interested in the body. She's interested in super weird things and folklore and textures. And obviously she had a very similar kind of attachment or like way of unpacking culture and experience. So I was really interested in her work. And then over time, I ended up working with Patel Brown, which was really amazing. I really wanted to work with a gallery that was not purely like white owned. I wanted to have this sort of like representation, diversity, and I thought the roster was really amazing. So then Rajni was invited to do this booth, and you know, like she called me on the phone, and then it was like, hi,
No, I
think,
was like, yo, what's up?
yeah, you have like a deeper range. So she was like, yo, what's up? And I was like, oh my God, because I'm the nice one, right? Because I'm the nice one. And then it was very easy. And I think that was what I remember the most about like the beginning of that, because it was just very fluid. And it was like, hey, let's work together. I had a dream that we collab on something. And I was like, I want to help you with that dream. That's a dream of mine too. So over the course of like a few phone calls and text messages, we conceived of the collaborative piece that we are presenting actually now in the show.
Right, and that's what I wanted to. Okay, I'm sorry. I think I lost the. I have it to advance the slides, but I might just shift around a little and find it, look for it. But in the meantime, just don't look at. Focus on them. Could you tell us about that process? Because we talk a lot about working with other people and getting them to do stuff for us, and then what collaboration is, participatory art projects, but collaboration is something that it's not paying folks to do the things you need them to do. It's not you, one individual artist retaining 100% creative control. It's about, collaboration is really about, we want each of us to bring everything that we have together to make something new. I would love you to talk a little bit about doing that.
Bye, Massey. See you later. I know.
Everyone,
I mean,
that is my
part.
son, Mazzy, and he's doing real good. He's doing real good.
He's fine.
He's fine. He's fine. I gave him a lot of chocolate rocks.
Oh, yes.
Here's the thing.
I bribed him, but
Yeah.
yet. Oh, clicker. Okay. So we're talking about the process.
The
Yeah.
process of collaboration.
Well, collaboration and how
So
you
phone
do
calls and then
collaboration.
sending little doodles by text message.
Text.
Doodles and doodles.
And pictures
then
of ourselves posing. Like,
posing.
what do you think
poses,
about this?
The pose, it's like this and like that, but we finalized it on the ground in the Darling Foundry, so that's fine. So we got that in, but I think I made like a little maquette because they needed to pose the booth. I literally made it with my daughter. She made like all the flowers, and I did the body. I was like, Marigold, is this okay? She's like, yeah, that's fine, for like the mass that it would take up in the booth, I guess.
Yeah.
And then Sayuri did all the flowers. My daughter's 13 years old. She's actually like a super amazing sculptor, so like that was easy. Like I was like, yeah, do it, it's fine. And it was stunning. So took the photos, sent that off, and then we kind of like talked about materiality a little bit, I think, but like really at the Darling, like when Marigold came to Montreal while I had the residency, we really solidified all of that. And we're both like, we have efficient minds and we're used to multitasking everything. We're both moms and we come from humble origins. So we have to think about a whole bunch of things at the same time. So it kind of like happened more easily. I felt easy.
Yeah, I think like, so just a little background on it. So obviously I live in Calgary, Rajni lives in Ontario, but she was in Montreal for the summer doing a residency at the Darling Foundry. She had access to this very big, beautiful studio in Old Montreal. So she was there working on other exhibitions. And so I came down and I worked on this sculpture for 6 days in total, but that was broken up from like 3 days on the first trip and then another 3 days. And the working mode was like very intense, nose to the grind, but very fun. And the thing is like, that's sort of part of the collaborative process. I mean, you're talking about collaborative process. It's like Raji and I get along really well and we think pretty similarly. And then we have the similar work ethics. So executing something like this was actually very, I don't want to say easy, but it was like seamless. Like it happened quite fluidly. And like she mentioned, we're like really efficient with time. We don't have like time to waste. So we're like, let's go. And I think that works really well for doing something like this under high pressure. And that seems
that another aspect to like collaboration that works well is if you have a lot of trust. And so for us, I mean, we trust each other a lot because we have a lot of similarities. We have similar work ethic. And we also really appreciate each other's work. So I just like, you know, when we were making it, Rajni would be like on one side of the sculpture and I'd be on the other side. And I wouldn't really know what she was doing and I'd be doing my own thing. But I just knew whatever she was doing was going to be amazing.
It's good, yeah. I knew that it was going to be good. So
Yeah.
like when we crossed to the other side, it's like, yep, it's
Yeah, oh
good.
yeah, it's awesome. And it was like very easy.
But
in
there's
that way.
acceptance and letting go too. Like
That's
lots
it.
of acceptance, lots of letting go, and like that's just trust stuff.
That's
I don't know,
trust.
I'm just mansplaining trust back or something.
No.
But
you're
like,
not.
you know,
Yeah,
there's a
that's
lot.
it.
There was a lot of that, like an easy feeling.
That's it. And it was fun. You know,
Fun.
like we laughed
Ice
a lot.
cream and
Ice
stuff.
creams.
Yeah, ice creams.
Late night jokes that made probably
No
no
sense.
sense.
No sense, because like going into like your 14th hour of making, like you're
Yes.
loopy, getting
Yeah.
a little bit like
Yeah.
the jokes are not making sense
That's it. But like you like
But
that.
they're funny.
Yeah.
to us.
Only to us, maybe.
Because from what I understand, it was like 3 marathon sessions to make this work, this sculptural
Well,
work.
it's 6 full days, so 3 and 3 separated. So it's like something in the beginning. What were we? That's planning, right? What was the first 3? Yeah,
I think we made
See?
the mask.
We did the mask. We put it
Yeah.
away. We planned. Yeah, we planned the flora, all of the flowers, and like made things, and like we had. I had a technician there, so delegating some of the like the really crazy stuff that needed to be done again and again and again, like hundreds and hundreds of times, and then Marigold making those beautiful, which it's like honestly they're my favorite part of the whole
Nice.
installation are the flowers that Marigold made out of clay. They're just stunning. Those, yeah, and then coming back and like working on the form
That's it, yeah.
and like literally rolling on the ground, like laughing at just nothing. Like,
And
just,
also
like,
there was a
so
huge
tired,
horse
like
there.
delirious. Yeah.
Rajni had this huge art piece of hers, which
Yeah,
is
my
a
horse.
huge horse in the
Totally.
studio. Like a full size, what do you call it? Speculative taxidermy?
Yeah, that's another wing of my practice.
Yeah. And it's just like literally this life-size, beautiful alien horse because it has 2 eyes, or 6 eyes. But you would walk past the Darling Foundry and the windows would be open and you would just see these 2 giggling women and this huge
And a
horse.
just a
And then
horse.
that.
Yeah.
And people would stop and look.
and be
we-
like, what's going on
yeah,
here?
what's that? And we were like, it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine, guys. Everything's okay.
Everything's okay in here.
As you were.
Yeah.
Carry on.
Carry on. Please carry on.
Because the thing about the Darling Foundry, which is a building in Montreal that has a presentation program, but also has these crazy, amazing spaces for residency, is that Rajni's studio was at street level with huge windows that you could, you know, if you couldn't reach her for some reason by text or whatever, you just go up to that window and just like, hey.
Yeah,
Hey.
Yeah, I'm just
Open.
combing my horse. Oh, sorry, I missed your call. I was combing my horse.
So what's one of the other aspects that's so central and shared in between both of you is the deep, intense love of making. If you can dream it, you can make it. I would love for you to talk about this connection with realizing the things that are realized conceptually as ideas inspired by the myriad things that inspire you, and then the need to instantiate them in something that's physical and tangible.
Can-do attitude.
A can-do attitude really helps, you guys.
I feel like I mean,
We're
okay, so-
moms, we're moms, but we're the ultimate makers.
yeah, we make.
We can make
We've
a
made.
person.
We've made.
That's alive. So there's that. It really helps us out.
I mean, yeah, I feel like, you know, I guess maybe the way I'll approach that question is that, I've been making work nonstop and consistently since art school, and then, my master's, and I haven't stopped. And I feel like that's just like a natural way of being for me. And I think like a lot of artists, creatives can kind of relate to that. It's really hard to turn that off. What helps is when you have other things like layers in that making. And for me, my work really examines experiences brought about by diaspora, motherhood, all of these things that are really impossible to completely mine. You're going to be looking at these things forever. So in many ways, like the inspiration is ongoing. And when you're flooded with all of these questions and things that you're constantly thinking about, the artwork is like, it's just like a pull, like it's a necessary thing to want to be processing those things through your active making. I guess that's just maybe how I approach it and why it never gets boring. And I get bored easily, like really easily. So I feel like, yeah, I think that's maybe, it compels me, I guess is the best way.
Rajni? Idle hands.
So here's a weird story, is that, so I'm Sri Lankan, and back home we have a Vedic astrology chart. All children that are born we're kind of read inside this map of the stars, and there's a lot of math and time and celestial bodies involved in this thing. It's very different astrology from here. Back home I'm a Scorpio, which like I don't really, yeah. So included, because Sri Lanka is a Buddhist country and it has been for a while, there's a past life reading in there. And in my past life, I was an artist. In my life before that, I was an artist. And in my life before that, I was an artist. When I'm born again, I'll be an artist again. So there's that. And my mom literally has this piece of paper in her house. So it was very easy for my parents to just be like, okay, she's drawing. Fine, we get it. We're gonna get her, okay, whatever, crayons. I mean, I grew up fairly poor, so it's just kind of like crayons, like there's a few markers, there's like pens from like my mom or dad's office that they brought home, and just like drawing and stuff. And I've been an artist since I was born. So like I started drawing when I was like 2. So, and then I just had that weird upper hand of like knowing what I was gonna do, which I kind of like, I realized that it is an upper hand. Like not a lot of people get, there's people who walk around like, I don't know what I should do. So I'm lucky through this weird system that seems like super hokey to like a lot of people. They're like, how can you know that's weird? So there's that. But the other thing about making is that like, I recognize like my place in my blood lineage in making. Like I come from like a heavily artisanal culture, and I really feel that like when I go back home, I itch to make. Like it's just in me. Like it's always been in me. I think if I stop making, I'll die. Like I don't know what else I could do. Like my other job that I've had is a cook. And I cooked in restaurants all through school, but I was still making. Like I just ended up at the front of the pass. Like I ended up in cold section. I was plating. Like they're just like, you're artsy. Like you're gonna go here. You know what I mean? You're garde manger. So I've always made like, and it doesn't matter what position I'm put in. I'm just a maker, and but that's not me. Like I'm also just a portal, and I get it. I'm like just a portal, and like things are coming. And yes, I get tired, but yeah, it's just in me to make. I don't know another way to be same as you. Like I don't know another way to live.
Can you imagine if baby you and baby me met
Oh my God, very cute. It would
at
be
the like
cute.
art lessons?
Yeah. At the easy art lessons.
Easy art lessons. Mom,
Can
are
we
you
blow
here?
up a photo on the? I'm just kidding.
Mom, remember? There's my mom. Remember
Where's your
that like
mom?
little card of
Hi,
Mr.
Mom.
Senna's easy art lessons from the
Yeah,
Philippines?
there's a photo with Marigold's face, like a dumpling. Her face is there, and it says easy art lessons.
Yeah, I was little.
And there's like it's a certificate. Like
it
it's
looked
your
like
first,
it looked like an ID card.
okay.
It looked
It
like
looks a little official. but
yeah,
it's-
from the Philippines at my mom's hospital where she was working at. She like enrolled me in these art lessons. I must have been like, how old was I, Mom? 5.
5 years.
Little Chopao face.
Chopao. Yeah,
Chopao
that's
face.
literally that's
that
it.
was me.
Yeah.
So we should have met.
I know.
We're now together.
But we're a different age. Like you would have been like, you would have been too cool to talk to me. 'Cause I would have been a dorky little kid, which I was. Dorky.
I'm nice though. Remember?
Oh yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it would have been good.
Yeah, it would have worked.
But that kind of, nicely ties into this idea around kinship and what kinship, really can mean. There are kind of classical definitions of blood relations and things, but I think now, and in particular when we are diaspora people, kinship takes on another meaning.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Go on.
Yeah, I mean, this is the time more than any other time where, like, I just want to like bring up like diasporic theory and diasporic mythology. Kinship forms a really big part of that, and just like a feeling of togetherness and coming to and sort of cohesion is more important now than ever. Like, this is the time to like devote your time to it and like foster that feeling of togetherness, because we have been and we are going into like extremely polarizing and divisive times. So like, not only is kinship like a joy and a beautiful thing, it is going to become a necessity that's going to keep you safe, and it's going to keep you like sort of like functioning in a state that is like okay for you. So
Oh, sorry.
yeah, that's what I have to say on that. Like, it's a nice thing. Like, friendship and kinship is good, but like for me, collaborative partnerships like mine and Marigold's are like I look at them as like a necessity for my survival in a way. So it's not so much of a feeling that's kind of like an abstraction or like something fuzzy. Like, it's something that is a lot more, I don't know, like food or water or something like that, you know?
And I think too, like, obviously, if we look at the times that we're living in here, these values of kinship and community are just getting lost. We need to like remember and relearn how to be this way. So in Tagalog, there's a term called kapwa. Are there any Filipinos in the house? Yes. Yeah. So kapwa, sort of like defined as a collective self. It's a pre-colonial term. And it's amazing. It's a beautiful term that I've only really learned in the last like 5-6 years. That's pretty late in life. And what I love about this term is that it makes you see yourself in relation to others. And I think that we forget about that. Like, we live in capitalist societies where we're really taught to be individual. And that's sort of like the epitome of how you function. And I think like if we're trying to think about survival in the future, we really have to think about our relationship with others. And in order for you to like fix yourself, you have to like be in dialogue with others. You just can't do that in an isolated way. And so I think about kapwa a lot, like in my practice, because I call my practice like my decolonizing practice. And for me, I'm learning about my culture just in fragments, like little bits here and there, because that's what you do when you're a person in diaspora. You don't have the luxury of being immersed in your culture all the time. So another way that I learn about my culture is through kinship. So, like some of you guys know that I do tattoos. I love to tattoo people that are from the Philippines. I love, BIPOC friends and folks that come to see me. And it's really a way for us also to share culture, and kinship comes that way, And so I feel really blessed that I have this way that community and kinship can come to me, because it's kind of hard also to seek it out. So I feel really blessed to have that. And I think that really empowers my practice. Like it really sustains me. Yeah, especially because if I'm not collaborating all the time, you're isolated. It's really good to bring that community, and then you get galvanized together.
Yeah, kinship really, I think you both raised how kinship is in these days going to spread open in terms of ways that we need to connect more than ever. We're going to go to questions, but I would love for you to just give us a sense of the title of the show, because it's also a collaborative title, right? It's Efflorescence, The Way We Wake. You each have a hand in
Yeah,
that.
Marigold came up with Efflorescence, and I came up with The Way We Wake, and then we put it together. We're like, yes. So maybe you start with the first part, and
Yeah.
then
So when we were making this sculpture, and it matters to mention how it was made, because we didn't really have a final. We didn't like draft it out or draw it in detail. You know, we were like very open to seeing how this was going to evolve. We didn't really know what the final look was going to be at all. It was evolving before our very eyes and hands. So while we were making it, I just kept thinking of this idea of like becoming. Like this is sort of blossoming. This is sort of coming into fruition as we are creating it. And we're creating it with these conversations we're having with each other, with the jokes, with the funnies, with like talking about our roles as mothers and our kids, you know, like, and so all of that is just pushed into the work. Like it's pushed into the clay and it's there. So I was thinking a lot about that, and I was thinking like, what's a word that really can describe this idea of like blossoming, blooming, also our friendship, our practices, this artwork. So efflorescence was the term that I came up with. And I thought that as one word, it was like a beautiful, it also has a beautiful sound too, you know, like it's got a niceness to it. I don't know what that was.
slurp. It's
It was a
slurpy.
slurp. It was a slurpy word.
I find it to be slurp. Yeah, so, and The Way We Wake, I was thinking about that because of the way that I'm an immigrant, and the way that we gather ourselves from our surroundings, like the way that we kind of like collage ourselves, because the immigrant identity is very different from like an identity back home. It's different from like, I'm called a Canadian artist. I don't really agree with it. I've never had the privileges of being a Canadian person. I've never, you know what I mean? Like I wouldn't, it's like and I think immigrant artists are also very different. Like there's a whole other genre of work with like different values and different attitudes and different ways of approaching creation and making. So I was just thinking about how we like draw ourselves up from our surroundings, and also the way that we're like falling apart or like fragmented or fragmenting over time, like something that is coming together and falling apart all the time. That's why I think immigrants and immigration is so beautiful, like that thing of like being borderless. It's so beautiful, it's shimmering, it's not static. So I thought of like, you know, millions and millions of borderless people sort of like waking up, like the upward motion and waking up together. So that's what I was thinking about for The Way We Wake.
I mean, you actually really do get a embodied sense of that through this. You know, she's like pushing.
That's why it was
herself
really
up.
important for us to like, you know, us naming it came after you had seen it like a couple times, you know, like you let us make it, and then you were like, okay, what's the name? Because then we had the, you know, sometimes there are times where you gotta like name it halfway through. We were almost done, so like that helped.
Yeah, it really took us a long time to figure out the title for the mural upstairs.
Yeah.
Thanks, Muriel, for being so patient.
What's the name of the mural?
It's Cirrus.
Cirrus. What, can you want to say what it is?
So Cirrus spelled Cirrus. It is like another word for tendril. It's also another word. It's a kind of cloud. Specific clouds that have tendril-like forms. So, and
Another naming, just a
And-
little quip of naming for you guys.
Geez, naming's important, right?
Yeah.
So we invited Rajni and Marigold to make a mural collectively, in addition to their this collaborative work at Fondation PHI, and graciously, Contemporary Calgary also had them do a mural here. So the mural that you're seeing, which greets you as you enter the exhibition, is brand new. It's made for here. And it's a completely different palette. I was totally taken aback.
Yeah.
We had a landscape of sort of these, this kind of flora that it's a language of flora that Rajni and Marigold created, it being sort of equatorial, of equatorial heritages.
Yeah.
But this is so different.
Yeah.
Maybe like a minute on that. I would love to know what inspired this mural here.
Yeah, so we just texted again. It was. We just we were just like had a phone call. We just go on phone, because honestly, I mean, I also am not good at texting because I'm often working with my hands. So I'll just call. Sometimes it's like, I feel like people don't like that.
I
I'll just
love a
call.
cold call.
Yes.
I love a
So
cold
that's
call.
fine, good to know.
Yeah.
And yeah, calls, and then you did then I showed you these poses, and you're like, okay, here's a sketch. And then I did a riff on the sketch, and then she did a riff on the sketch, and we came up with the bodies.
It was really, again, seamless. And then
It's
we were like,
easy.
hey, so let's do a limited palette again. Let's choose 5 colors. These are the colors. And I'm taking like screenshots from my phone of like, I Google like Mars yellow. And then like all these, I'm like, this one. I send her this color, and then she's like, yep, that's good. And then it's really like, this is how we work. And it may not sound like that ideal for others. Like if you have to really plan things out, like we don't really work that way, because I think a lot of the magic happens like in situ, So yeah, it came together. But we just knew that we wanted the next mural to be figurative. We wanted bodies.
Yeah.
We were
Textile
patterns, like let's make them float.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was it, yeah.
Because the last one was landscape. It was like,
Fully.
and those equatorial plants were like in an arid, like desert landscape. So,
That's it.
so this is another feeling.
No, this is a love letter.
But they're both like aspects of the work. Like both, I feel like if we were to do it again, it would still draw on both of our practices. Because there's
Absolutely.
that many parallels, like a lot of meeting points too.
Yeah.
No, I think this is, when I say a love letter, I think you really understand the desire to invest a space and a place, and it's a love letter to Calgary, and I think you've done something really special.
Just for you guys.
Aww. Let's do
Sweet. I know
some
we're so sweet.
questions. We got a question over there. I think maybe microphone's coming. Yes, it's coming. Put your hand up again, maybe. Yeah. Thank you.
I really appreciate, Rajni, the way you talk about your practice and how you like originally got to where you are now. Specifically, the realness of it. I know that's kind of a weird compliment to say, but talking about.
No, I get it.
Yeah, like talking about the classism and the racism and the like kind of all these borders like make even like any meaningful connection completely difficult, and then how that reflects in your two's collaboration together in a way that had a real relationship. I'm speaking as an immigrant emerging artist, as part of a diaspora, and like really bumping my head against that feeling. Not even just the like classism itself, but the feeling of like bigness around classism. And so my question is really based in that, as an immigrant, is that how do you navigate the complexities of diaspora, of calling your own work diaspora, of trying to like participate in that? Because it's not just like, this is the real part, it's not just like the poor people being a part of the diaspora. It's a complex term with a lot of nuances and a lot of people who are in it that reflect, you know, the relationships of empire. I met Margaret at Constellations at the Esker Foundation that's running right now, which talks a lot about these roots
Yeah, I'm
of
going
immigration.
tomorrow to see it, yeah.
Yeah, it's really good.
Wait, can't wait. Yeah.
But it's not just like these roots of empire that have people move to these new countries from third world ones to first world ones. As an immigrant, it's like you still are part of a privileged class because you make it out. And so it becomes difficult, especially as a a countryless person, to really have claim to anywhere. I know that's kind of vague and ambiguous.
No, that's so specific and really well said.
Yeah.
You're
But-
like getting that I understand your feeling. Sorry, did you want to go ahead? Complete
No,
it.
you go ahead. I'm
Okay,
just like.
do you want me to just like riff and go?
Just take
Yeah.
over.
Yeah. So okay. Oh my God, I have so many things to say about this. Jesus Christ. Okay, class is huge, and it is something that is coming up more and more as I do better as an art, like as I move up in my career. And it's just something that's like starting to break open, and like, you know, we're also starting to see here in North America, like we're starting to see the collapse of empire here in this country that includes a breaking open and in sort of like the way that oh my God, I saw an amazing meme. It's like they'll have you fighting a cultural war when what you should be fighting is a class war. And it's really, really hard to navigate being also like, yeah, I say that I'm a diasporic artist to differentiate myself, period, from like a white Canadian person. And it's also like, you know, being called a Canadian artist is like, that happens when it's convenient. And then when it's inconvenient, I'm a brown artist or like Sri Lankan artist or something like that, because sometimes I make inflammatory statements. I don't care. I'm just here to tell the truth. It's fine. And yeah, I mean, that's navigating class has become huge. And so I agree with that part. It's like, it's such a complex thing to come here from somewhere else and like make yourself again. It's like insane. It's very stressful, which is all the more reason that I feel like, you know, artists who are emigrated need to be like considered in a separate situation. Yeah, that's what I have to say. But I really feel that comment. Was there like a specific question though in there that you had? Just to make sure I didn't miss that.
Does it kind of suck to call yourself a diasporic artist?
No, man, absolutely not. No, because like I'm proud of my grit. Like I'm really proud of my grit, actually. Like I know a lot of it's been unfair and like ridiculous and difficult, but I'm really proud of my resilience. And that's like, yeah, there's like mythology that's associated with that like then gets like dumped into like some labor that I'm supposed to do to like make my life normal, but I'm still proud of it. Like I still really got something done with from just absolutely nothing, right? So yeah, not nothing, like I have great roots and ancestors like watching me and a great bloodline like I'm very proud of. Myself from before colonization, like that self, which I'm sure you feel and stuff, you know, you like think about that in yourself. I'm proud of all of that, but like there's a lot of that I really, you know, we're not allowed to bring that here. So like we had to do the rest and like be strong, and I'm like, I'm proud of myself and like all of us too. So I will never denounce that term. Like that's a really nice, I like that.
Thanks for that question, Isa.
Another question? Yeah, I see, yeah, up there.
What?
I just want to say thank you to both of you guys. You're just huge inspirations. I think looking at the sculpture, I just wonder, do you relate to her? And in what ways do you relate to her?
100%. 100%. Like when we were making her, we were like, okay, she's gonna have some big boobs.
I was gonna say the boobs too. Oh my god.
She gonna have some nipples. She's gonna have this vulva. I mean, we really just when we were making her, we were like, she's getting ready to go out. She's got her earrings on. She got her nails did. So we were like really loved her, you know, when we were making her, we were like kind of like making her be us and vice versa. And it just happened naturally because we really love her, you know?
Yeah, wherever she goes, they better love her too. I feel like if she ends up in like a place where they don't take care, like I feel like we'd get angry.
Yeah.
Like we'd go there and be like, "Excuse me." Like that.
Yeah, I mean, we
You
just,
know?
we care for her so
Like-
much. And so we relate, you know, and we're talking about like the big breasts because we talked about breastfeeding and talked about what that's like for us as people who did that. And, you know, we really wanted her to be supported by the structure of her giant breasts.
Yeah.
So we did, you
Also,
know.
how much we both love the natural world.
Mhm.
Like we love the natural world. Like we pine for the natural world. I
Yeah.
feel like we like yearn for. We're like, you know what I love is this tree, and it is here. You should go there one day. So like, there's a lot of that talk. And like, look, it's like replete with like flora. It's like it's all over. It's growing
Yeah.
out of her. So like, there's that part of just like loving the world, like loving the natural world. I think that's in there hugely.
Thanks for that question.
So nice. Makes me feel warm inside.
Another one? Other
Just
question?
really anything, even if it's weird. We got a weird one.
Your running is appreciated. The comment that you just made and the stance that she's taking, I wonder, is there this sense of confrontation that comes into the work? I feel that in both of your work is this confrontation of like, either it's coming out of the picture or it's crawling towards you and it's like, watch out because I'm strong.
Mm-hmm.
Is that part of that feeling?
You want to go? Yeah, for sure. I think like, you know, confrontation is one word, or confrontational, but I would say it's more just like an assertion of oneself, you know, like a strength and a confidence in your selfhood. And I feel like in my work, oftentimes you're going to see that like the figures aren't comfortable with their body or they're like in some sort of embrace with themselves. And I think that's really important. I think when we talk about like bodies, and so, you know, you're going to see like the eyes that are not shying away. They're going to be looking right at you. And the body gestures are doing the same thing. So yeah, I feel like that's, for me, it's present in my work.
Yeah, and she's also like weaponized. Like there's like weapons on her, like her nails are like, there's like, I like screwed screws in so the nails would never come out.
Yeah.
Like those things can hurt you. She can hurt you, you know? And that's like a part of the piece too. Like while she's you know, looks fragile in parts and is
She's
like
strong.
extremely lush, like abundant in parts, and she's also like dangerous.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. Thank you. I said like one half question in addition to that.
Yes.
On a technical aspect, on a technical aspect, is there an internal structure, and what's it made of?
Styrofoam. So the way that, cause like, you know, there were cues from me on this work on like how to get like a large work like this done quickly and economically and in a way that's like doable, you know. And I have a set and prop background. I actually did sets and props through school a little bit. You've probably seen several of the movies and shows that I did sets and props for, and Comic Cons, did a lot of those. But the internal structure of a lot of set and prop pieces, especially if they're big or could be weighty, are styrofoam or different foams. So the internal structure is styrofoam. I think there's not much of an armature. I think we like pushed some like dowels and things in, but it's pretty sturdy now because it has a clay coat that's about an inch thick. So even my worm structure that you see kind of like snaking through a hallway, styrofoam inside. Yeah.
One more, yeah.
Hi, how are you?
So good.
I have a question
Thanks.
about self-care in your practice. I heard a wise lady ask a question to you in Toronto, Rajni. So I just want to know about both your self-care and practice as well as in your home life.
Oh, okay. So, one of the things that is really important to me is mental health, and it should be important to everybody. And I remember when I first experienced postpartum depression, I didn't know what that was. Like, I didn't know what was happening to me, and it was really scary, and it was really jarring. And I remember at that moment feeling really frightened about what I was going to do, and I felt like I was going to lose my mind. And a lot of my paintings actually talk a lot about this vulnerability of mental health and self-care. But I remember at the time thinking like, you know, I'm going to get medicated, and then I'm going to like change the ways that I do certain things so that I can take care of myself. And it's really important for that, especially when you are in a practice that's thriving and has a lot of demands on you. It's really your responsibility to take care of yourself. Especially like, you know, being a mom, you're in this position of care and responsibility all the time. You have to take care of everyone else. But you really, you know, what I learned is that I have to do that for myself. So you really have to, for me, I have to carve out that time. I have to carve out like the presence of that in my life. So that could be like exercise and like what I eat, or like abstaining from certain things, you know, like that's not good for me. And I feel like in general, when, for me as a rule, like if I want to sustain where I'm at emotionally and physically and like, you know, embrace what I have, then I really have to take care of myself. So it is really important for me. And I think for everyone, take care of yourselves. Like it's really important.
Do I really? Okay. I'm going to be really bad at answering this because like my self-care is like it's not great. Saying no has been like a cool thing recently where I'm like starting to really say no. Actually learned it from my daughter when she was young. And she, you know, they're like, no. And I'm like, you know what? You're right. You're right. But yeah, all this to say, I don't know, like I just feel like I'm not good at self-care.
I mean, it's not a perfect picture.
And
I fail at it all the time.
I don't think I would have like too much to like advise people, or like it wouldn't be a good example. Like my self-care isn't good. It's not where I am yet. I'm just trying to like feed myself and my kid and stuff. I'm a single parent. So yeah, I get it. I mean, I try to go to therapy like when I have time. And I do hot yoga, and that's really good. So it's just like so basic. And barely there. So that's just me. I like work a lot, and you know what? Sometimes working does make me feel good, but I am definitely inside the toxic immigrant pattern of just working to show myself my own self-worth. And it's not great, and I'm gonna get out of this. It's fine. It'll be fine. But right now, I'm just being very honest with where I am. Yeah.
But you know what I would say with you is that I feel like you're really good at taking care of yourself, and that you know what you draw boundaries really well. And I think that's
the no is I learned from my kid. That doesn't even come from me. I had to watch my 2-year-old do that, and I took an exam. I was like, okay, that's nice, because now you're not having to do something that you didn't want to do. So that's amazing. I was like, okay, I mean, I can do that too. So yeah, but yeah, that's where I am. Thanks for saying that. That's so. See.
Thank
So
you
sweet.
for your generosity. I mean, getting back to just trust for a second, we're always incredibly honored and privileged that you trust us. You trust us with your work. You trust us to communicate your work to, the communities we serve, and that is a gift. So thank you for that. I want to thank David Linster for, inviting again an exhibition, and I mean, wow, what can I say? It's like them, right?
Yeah.
Kanika, the whole team here, the people that, Brandon and, the folks who installed these works, who took care of them, and then all of you who are going to mediate and take care of them as this exhibition goes forward. Your contributions and your dedication and commitment are outstanding at a time when we really need to connect through art, and more than ever, I mean, always, it makes us better. So I guess we're just going to close it here. Thank you, everyone. You all make this happen, so thank you for
I
making
just
the
also want
party.
to say thank you too. Thank you, everybody. And I just want to say thank you to everybody who has just been so supportive of my work. Thank you to Rajni. Thank you so
to
much.
Marigold.
Love her.
Thanks to Cheryl.
Thank you so much, Shannon and
Kanika.
Jarvis, my
We're
gallery
just gonna talk
in
over
Calgary.
each other. That's how we
Love
close
you
the
guys.
show.
Thank you, Devin and Garrett. Thank you, Cheryl. Thank you, Kanika. Thank you, David. And thank you, everybody here.
Yeah,
and
thanks,
my mom
guys.
and dad and Yarko.
Hi, Marigold's mom
everybody.
and dad. I
Thank you,
haven't met
guys.
you in person
Let's
yet.
all
Just
give
saying hi from
ourselves a good round of applause.
And there are more thank yous. I won't extend a lot further, but thank you again, Rajni, Marigold, Cheryl. It's been an absolute delight to work with all of you. I shared some notes with the team this morning, and it's been the easiest, breeziest install we have had to date. So, great. I'd also like to thank board members here, our board co-chair, Carol Ryder, David Leinster, CEO, the entire team who work with us making all of this happen. I hope you enjoy the exhibition. Thank you to also all the donors who have lent work. Most of the work in the exhibition has been lent either through institutions or private collectors. Thank you all. I hope you enjoy the exhibition. The Dome program will feature Marigold's work called Gold Woman, which will resume shortly. So for those who haven't seen it, do take a couple of minutes. As we exit, we'll have that on. Enjoy the exhibition. Thank you.